doing, guys? Brainsmasher. Doing what I do worst. Drowning in metal CDs. It's a collection update. Yeah, it's a collection update. In the background, we're listening to Between Two Worlds. Two of them! This was released on Nuclear Blast 13 years ago. And it might be a little loud. I don't know, I kind of like it. You know, I hate the fucking butt rock era of Immortal, but I wish that he would have just taken this style stuff and just done and kept Immortal being a fucking grim black metal band. This has a lot of like Motorhead kind of influence. If you like that later era Immortal, this has a lot of that like fucking Motorhead kind of influence going on. I don't know. I don't put it on very often, but I don't know. I like it. I think it's alright. Icedale looking sexy. So we got a lot of ground to cover. I got a lot of stuff in here. I'm just going to try and blast this out without too much bloodshed. My boys are heading out on tour in the across the pond out in Europe. This is False with their new record Portent. Been a fan of these guys for a really long time, and I've become friends with them over the years. About 8 or 10 years ago or so, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, I'm having a show at my basement. Black metal band from Minnesota's coming down. You should come check it out." So I did, and False was the band. It was their first out of Minnesota show on their very first tour. They were just little kid babies, and now they've grown up and they've made this absolutely it is just vitriolic, intense. It's so fast. It's so intense because it's fast, but it's just intense in so many ways, but in a way that doesn't feel negative. It seems really, it's like a mournful kind of record, but I shit you not, resting blast beat speed on this is like 250 BPM. But it doesn't play out like that's its intent. It is a deep, fascinating, and just mesmerizing record. It's got this kind of overall angelic kind of quality to it, but it just roves and droves in and out of these just intense moments. It is just a really important record, and I'm really proud of those guys. Also, their last record, I couldn't really get into it. The sound quality on it, their recording just sounded like turds. I couldn't do it. So I'm really happy to have them have a nice, slick sound to their record for once. Their debut EP was really killer too. I've seen them live probably now 4 or 5 times, and they're always a sight to behold. So I've been getting stuff from all over the place. Yesterday I was in Chicago dropping my favorite person off at the airport. 2 weeks alone, Bachelor #1. And I wound up swinging by Reckless and trying out a new spot that my buddy Tony John recommended that I go to, called Rolling Stones, and that was a trip. I don't know, I won't get too much into it, but I wound up picking up the new Botanist Ecosystem. Man, this is awesome. I've been following these guys for quite a while, and I've been a fan since day one, really. Since they put out their debut on Tumult Productions, but I've always wished that they would evolve a little bit more. I don't know, they're a challenging project. They're challenging and satisfying. There's really nothing else like Botanist. They use the main, like, forget guitars, there's no guitars. The main music is brought forth with dulcimer, and that is a weird thing to mix with black metal drumming and vocals. So they're a bizarre band, but always really creative, and I really appreciate the theme being nature and the natural ecosystem kind of stuff. So this is going to be something I delve into quite a bit. It's got a lot of replayability to it. Next, what else did I pick up? Yesterday I also picked up Dastor, Paysage d'hiver. Kind of a beat up copy, but yeah, I have decided, like, I didn't realize that these were actually not that rare. You know, all the fucking Paysage d'hiver LP insanity be going on. I'm staying out of that shit mostly. I would like to get all of the non-ambient Paysage d'hiver records on this A5 CD. I really like these. But man, this record, this was the most recent full length, 2013. And I hadn't listened to it in quite a while. So I revisited it yesterday, and it is fucking amazing. This is just seriously one of the most breathtaking black metal bands there ever was. Fucking love Paysage d'hiver. What else did I pick up yesterday? Oh, so at Reckless, so one location of Reckless mostly got rid of all their metal CDs and they're more LP oriented. But there was one more good location. But yesterday I visited the is it Wicker Park location of Reckless Records, and they too have diminished their metal CD collection down to like 3 rows or something. So I didn't really find much. I kind of made myself buy this, and I'm glad I did. Mortiferum, Disgorged from Psychotic Depths. Yeah, everybody's going nuts about these guys. It's the new death metal album of the week. I don't know where these bands keep fucking coming out of, but I'm enjoying most, if not all of it. I just, like, honestly, I guess I feel like I'm drowning in these good old school death metal bands. But this is pretty interesting. I really dig how the cymbals sound just like really dead and drab. The guitar fuzz is really just kind of like washed out and nasty. Everything in here just kind of sounds waterlogged and dead and pallid. I guess this is maybe being billed as like a death doom band, but I wouldn't wholly agree with that. I wouldn't say the doomy moments are necessarily traditional doom. They're more like slow death metal when they're slow, if that makes any sense. It's a really cool record. If you're on the fence, it's got my seal of approval on it. The production on it really sells it. If this just sounded like any other death metal band trying to play this style, I might not be that impressed. I think the recording qualities that they got out of this really nails it on the head. So that's it for yesterday. Let's get into today, what I got. This came in the mail. Odes Manuk. So this is their one and only full length. I believe it's self-titled, with the split with Tucaria tacked on the end of it. I wasn't familiar with this. I wasn't too familiar. Like, I remember liking this maybe 10 years ago or so when it originally came out, and I downloaded it. It was super rare, tape only release, and then they got an LP reissue not long after. But then Profound Lore wound up picking this up and doing a A5 digibook version of it here, limited to 500 copies. So I don't know, I just kind of got a wild hair in my ass and I decided to spend $55 on this thing. There was a post by, I think it was the Metal Archives on Facebook, calling this the greatest black metal album of post-2000. And I was like, fuck, I forgot about Odes Manuk. I should look up and see if I can find a copy of that. I saw that most other copies were going for a lot more than this. And I just was like, fuck it, I'm buying it. It's awesome. It's kind of like Utgeit, if you're familiar, but just really nasty, caustic, just infernal black metal. This kind of For what it's worth, it comes from that kind of Southern California scene of Black Twilight Circle bands. I'm not sure if they're officially in that or whatnot, but this guy and another guy started that label Rhinoceros. I'm not too familiar with much of that stuff, but this is awesome. Let's see, today also got in this bizarre, fucking bizarre record. Alchemist, Jar of Kingdom. You ever just have a jar and it's got a whole kingdom in it? Man, doesn't that blow your mind? This is probably a Russian bootleg. I didn't really know. I don't know. I thought I was getting a steal. So I've had this on my Discogs wish list for a long time, and original copies go for like $75 or something. But then every once in a while, someone in Russia is selling it for $10, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait. So then I found someone on eBay with it for like $10. So then I figured, well, maybe that's really it. I don't know. So I can kind of tell it's a bootleg because the sound quality isn't that great, but it's fine. I'm all right with this. The album is, so if you remember that Embryonic Death demo that we were talking about, maybe last collection update, Stream of Solidarity, take that absolute just fuck the rules kind of nonsense style. I also kind of I referenced Human Remains as a leaping off point. This is maybe weirder than that was, and it's a full-length record, and there's more kind of odd instrumentation going on. They use this kind of like weird, I don't know if it's just like one guitar player is super weird and he plays all these kind of like weird bouncy Primus riffs or something, but there's lots of just really strange disharmonic harmonies going on with the guitars. It's some really brutal kind of bouncy death metal, but there's just a lot of really strange kind of anti-harmonies going on. It is really hard to wrap your mind around, let alone describe. Maybe I'll put this clip in the video for you to check out. Lethal Records came out in like 93. Yeah, here's an album that has the year on the back of it. Fuck yeah, they all should have that. Anyways, we got a lot more to get through. Got the new Belanos, Argote, fucking amazing. This dude never lets me down. Actually, Kornog, the last album was, I don't know, didn't have a lot of replayability, but this is fucking awesome. Belanos has been solid since day one. It's like pagan, kind of black metal, but it has this fucking might and just grandeur to it, so that calling it black metal kind of seems wrong in a way. It's just so intense and amazing sounding. It sounds so just strong, I guess. Oh, so I didn't mention this. My buddy Dave, shout out to Dave, gonna see you in a couple of weeks, sent me that false album, and he also sent me, surprised me, the new fucking Blut Nord Hallucinogen. Look at that artwork. It's got mushrooms on it. Mushrooms are my shit. This might be better than the Saturnian Poetry album that they did a couple of years ago, and I fucking love that record. I really like the idea of taking these morel mushrooms and putting eyeballs in all the little holes and making a big tree out of it. I don't know. Nerd shit. Mushroom nerd shit, I guess. Amazing artwork. So this takes like the headiness and just the psychedelic element of Mort, which I absolutely love. That's one of my favorite Blut Nord records. This is a non-painted close-up of a morel mushroom, if you care. So it takes that psychedelic, heady, kind of infinite depth soundscape quality to it, and I think it's a little more down to earth and black metal-ish. It's very, like, if you're worried about this album being a little too weird and you like the more normal Blut Nord stuff, this is a safe bet. think it's fucking amazing. It's got just such an amazing soundscape to it. It's just something you can get lost in. It's amazing. Next, I picked up a friend of mine, Bo, watches my channel and also does a really cool Instagram called Queer Metal Review. Posted something about this album being a underappreciated death metal record, and I just looked it up on Discogs and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm buying it. I was just feeling birthday money, just kind of spending some cash, you know. This is Crimson Massacre with the Luster of Pandemonium, and this came out on Deathgasm Records 13 years ago in 2005. Ordinarily, I consider pretty much everything that comes out on Deathgasm to be incredibly mediocre. But this is really, really insane, and this flew under my radar. So thank you, Bo, for bringing this to my attention. This is something else. I will say that I have a really strong dislike for the vocals. They are a what do you call that? Just no bueno. I just kind of have a hard time with vocals that have that kind of like hardcore-ish kind of like Rick to life kind of shit. I can't do it. I cannot fucking do it. So there's something like a little too showy, a little too maybe new age black metal for me or something in the vocals, but the music is infernal. Like, I can't even fucking comprehend how complex and technical the music is. It's impossible to even understand what you're hearing because the sound quality on it kind of isn't so great. But these guys are like as infernal and intense as maybe Rebellion from Brazil are. Brazil, am I right? I don't know. It's just a weird thing that I came across. Crimson Massacre. I'm probably gonna put that on in a couple years and just be like, ugh. So God, I feel like I'm getting nowhere with this. Also picked up Sturmpercht with Geister im Wolkenberg. If you remember a couple of months ago, I picked up their split with Rauhnacht. This is a Romanian band who self-releases all of their stuff. And this is not black metal whatsoever. It kind of sounds like all the intros to a pagan black metal record, but they're just kind of like short little folk songs. There's a ton of songs on here. These guys have an 8 LP wooden box set compilation of all their releases. This one is about, I think it's their third full length, and it's from 2006. So I just kind of didn't know where to start with these guys, so I just kind of wound up picking up the one with the cool cover on it. I really, really dig that weird-ass album cover. Alright, also picked up Brutality When the Sky Turns Black. Original copy with a promo hole cut in it. Man, this is fucking awesome. So this is a pretty rare release, and I wound up getting it because some radio station had written like their call letters on it. And I guess the disc is kind of scratched up too, but it plays fine for me. It even looks okay. I've got discs that look way worse than that. So I got a fucking steal from Redstream. And also, if you didn't know and you didn't see it on my Instagram, if you ever need to erase Sharpie from anything, use a dry erase marker and just write over it and wipe it clean. Awesome fucking record. Melodic death metal from Florida. It's got a lot of kind of like dissection-y kind of moments here and there. I really, really dig Brutality. Also, my buddy Pendath from the band Mephitis sent me his new record. Thank you so much. I believe this is the guy. I was stoked to see this happen or show up by surprise. So this is a Southern California, I believe. I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm probably wrong. Band playing just kind of straightforward, mighty black metal. It's kind of got this dark, cloaked, kind of obsidian feel to it all. It's really well written stuff. I usually like stuff that's maybe a little more unique or different than that, but it's just like shooting for the middle of the road, playing really solid. This is called Ember Dawn, by the way. Just really solid, well-written stuff. Kind of, let me see, I can't remember. They don't like being called black metal. Something, okay, dark metal. Yeah, I think that's a good middle of the road kind of term because it doesn't quite fit black or death metal, so dark works for me. I also found somebody on Discogs selling some, what do you call it? Crypt reissues for cheap. So I picked up two that I've been wanting to pick up for a while. Apoplexy, Tears of the Unborn. This is some Slovakian death metal from the year... fuck it. I'm just gonna guess. 92. I really don't know when this originally came out, but 2018, the Crypt reissued this. And I saw my buddy Explosive Action mention that this is one of his rarest and like most valuable albums, so that piqued my interest and I gave it a listen and I really liked it. It's kind of like it's a lot more melodic than death metal was being put out back in the day. But yeah, weird stuff. And then I just decided I'm gonna pick up something else that has a cool cover on it. So Dementor, The Church Dies, with a added demo, Morbid Infection. So Dementor were a death metal band. Aw, shit, I don't remember where these guys are from. Not one of your more typical countries of origin for a death metal band. Really, really fun stuff. Came out in '94 originally. I don't know, it's not too original, but it's really, really cool. Kind of like Creator riffs, a lot of Coroner kind of influence, a lot of that kind of riffing style. Just your average generic vocals and just like pretty much the sound of the moment, drum-wise, blasting double bass kind of stuff that you would hear in a lot of other death metal from around that time period. Nice, slick production, sounds great. It was really fun to listen to. I spun this about 3 or 4 times in a couple of days. Didn't get sick of it, so it was a good blind buy, honestly. And last but not not last. Yeah, we'll do this. Birds of Fire, Mahavishnu Orchestra. I'm kind of a jazz nerd sometimes. I used to listen to jazz radio at an old job that I worked at for about 12 years. And this is a classic. I've never owned a copy of it. I really, really like the skronky, kind of atonal, dissonant musicianship going on here. This is... I guess the jazz that I like, mostly Return to Forever, was like my favorite jazz. Sounds more kind of like rock band oriented, especially for the time period of the 70s when most of that stuff came out. This came out in '73. But this is more so led by the violin work of John McLaughlin. Just an awesome release. I'm sure a lot of you already know Birds of Fire by Mahavishnu Orchestra. If not, and you're up for something very, very weird, it also has some really heavy elements. So it could be said that there are some metal bands who could be taking some influence from that band. And last but not least, Vital Remains, Into Cold Darkness. I don't know, for some reason I didn't know that Peaceville had reissued this in 2004, and I thought I would never find an original copy of this. But just decided to pick it up. You know Vital Remains, great fucking frosty death metal from the East Coast. This has a cover of Countess Bathory by Venom and Dethroned Emperor by Celtic Frost. Yeah, fun stuff. You know Vital Remains. Brutal fucking band. Alright, I am out. That's it. I can go do my other stuff. Check you next time. Thanks for watching.